Imagine you're just standing in line at the grocery store. You're not lifting weights, you're not jogging, you're just literally upright. And your body suddenly behaves like you've sprinted up 6 flights of stairs. Your heart is pounding, your legs feel shaky and hollow, and you can't quite reach a full breath. Your hands go cold, your vision feels a little fuzzy, maybe your gut twists, and you feel a wave of nausea or this weird electric, wired but exhausted feeling that washes over you. The whole time, people around you are just calmly scrolling their phones, but you're thinking, how is everyone just standing here like it's nothing? For some people, this isn't a rare bad day. This is brushing your teeth, showering, cooking a simple meal. It gets labeled with words like POTS, or orthostatic intolerance, or dysautonomia. But here's the part that feels almost insulting. Your doctor checks basic labs, maybe an ECG, maybe a tilt table test, and then they say something like, your heart is structurally fine, try more fluids, maybe do some cardio. So the mystery is this. If your heart and lungs are technically fine, why does standing still feel like cardio? In this episode, we're going to explore a different angle. Not is your heart broken, but what if your cells are living in an energy emergency every time you stand up? And how things like blood volume, mitochondria, stress hormones, and even hidden fructose chemistry might quietly turn normal standing into a full body crisis. Not the only cause, but an amplifier. I'm Chris Mearns, and this is the Fructose model. Let's start with what you actually feel, not with a textbook. Picture your day. You wake up flat, maybe you're feeling okay-ish, and then you sit up, and your heart rate ticks up, a little dizzy, a little bit of brain lag, and maybe you grab your phone to stabilize before standing. Then you stand up. Your heart rate jumps 30, 40 beats a minute, your calves tense, your breathing becomes shallow, and something in your gut joins the party. Sudden urgency, bloating, or pain. Or maybe you get this ice-cold hand, red, blotchy leg combo that makes no sense if you just stood up. Later, you finally lie back down. You don't feel like you worked out. You feel like you've been in disaster drill all day. So what's the basic job your body has to do when you go from lying to standing? Well, first, your body has to fight gravity. When you stand, a big chunk of your blood volume slides down into your legs and lower abdomen. If you don't squeeze those veins and tighten those vessels quickly, blood pressure in your brain drops. That's the head rush, the gray out, the uh-oh moment. And your nervous system fires off a rapid response. Your heart rates up. Your vessels in your legs clamp down. And maybe your hands and your feet get cold as blood gets shunted towards your core. For most people, this response is quick and efficient. The brain sees a small problem, and the body spends a small amount of energy fixing it. And then everything calms down. In POTS and POTS-like states, this simple posture change can become a full-time job. Instead of a quick adjustment, your nervous system seems to stay in emergency mode. And we see exaggerated heart rate jumps, trouble holding blood pressure steady, and symptoms that ripple into the brain, gut, and muscles. It's like your body is paying a standing tax. Every minute you're upright, you're paying more in heart work, more in muscle tension, more in stress signaling, just to keep enough blood and oxygen going upstairs. Now here's the twist. All of that costs ATP. It costs cellular energy. So standing is not just a blood flow problem. It becomes an energy allocation problem. Your leg muscles have to contract more to push blood back up. Your heart has to beat harder and faster. Your brain stem is running constant control loops, recalculating blood pressure and heart rate like a stressed out air traffic controller. If your cellular energy systems are already fragile, that extra demand can push them over the line. But that leads to the next question. Why would the act of standing place such a heavy load on your energy systems in the first place? And why does it seem to be happening more often now? especially after infections like COVID? To answer that, we have to zoom in from blood flow to stress chemistry. Think about a time you were really dehydrated. A hot day, not enough water, maybe a headache and a little brain fog. Notice what your body quietly does. You get intensely thirsty. Your urine gets darker. You might feel a bit wired, a bit anxious. Behind the scenes, a hormone called vasopressin rises. Its job is to hold on to water and help your blood pressure not crash. Now, so far that makes sense, but here's the weird part. In animals, when vasopressin goes up and dehydration kicks in, cells start turning some of their own glucose into fructose through something called the polyol pathway. That internal fructose then raises uric acid and oxidative stress and actually pushes the system into a kind of save energy, store fat, lower baseline ATP mode. Does that sound backwards? You'd think a stressed body would try to make more energy. Instead, it seems to switch into hoarding mode. Now imagine layering that chemistry onto someone with orthostatic intolerance. You stand up, your blood shifts down, your brain sees relative low flow, and your body reads that as mini dehydration or low volume every time you stand upright. Vasopressin nudges up, you get more thirsty, you crave more salt, maybe sugar, and inside cells that can trigger more endogenous fructose production, more uric acid, more oxidative stress signals. These are the exact signals that tell your mitochondria we're under threat, slow down, and conserve. And so now we have this strange situation where standing up increases your need for ATP, especially in heart and leg muscles. But the very stress of trying to maintain blood pressure might be telling your mitochondria to act like there's a drought and a famine. You've got high demand on one side and conservation mode on the other. Now, this is a model, not a verdict. We're not saying that fructose causes POTS, but it gives us a new way to read the symptoms. That racing heart that feels out of proportion, that legged weakness as if you've just done squats, even though you're only folding laundry, that wired but wiped crash after a shower. Those might not just be anxiety or being out of shape. They might be signs that every upright minute is forcing your cells into a tug of war between spend energy and we're in energy conservation. And that might just also explain why simple advice like just hydrate more or just exercise sometimes backfires. If your blood volume and vasopressin fructose system is already on a hair trigger, you can't just pile on more stress and expect it to rewire. So then the big question becomes this. If standing is triggering both mechanical stress and this deeper biochemical famine signal, what does that mean for how we think about treatment and pacing? And how much of this is actually reversible? Let's tie the pieces together. If you've ever felt crazy because standing in a grocery line felt harder than a workout, this model suggests you might not be imagining it. Your body might be genuinely spending far more energy managing upright posture than most people realize. The symptom might be evidence of a system that is paying an unusually high energy cost simply to stay upright, which raises a bigger question. If standing is expensive, what other everyday activities are quietly draining energy from a system that already feels like it's running on backup power?